What's going on, YouTube and casters? It's the Franz here with another Elestrals Battle. As you can see, we have ourselves a new deck here, as I have neither the spirits or the deck sleeve. This is a fire and wind deck with Majorsa right now being the top. I didn't expect anything much for this deck, but we have a little bit to talk about later on about something that I think is plaguing the Elestrals TCG right now that needs to be fixed and addressed by them ASAP, or the game's not going to get is not going to be fun because it's going to hamper a lot of people. But as you're going to see here, as we start, I'm of course drawing my first turn. Again, this is in a Majorsa deck, just which has Earth Smog, Earth Sea, Earth Scout, and Majorsa as the main focus of the deck. It's very under tweaked and everything. And as they said before, Majorsa is not like the Majorsas and the Ursas are not like really something that you can rely on right now. They say set 2 is going to come out and it's going to help boost that to make a Majorsa just more viable. I figured, you know what? I'll just make myself a small little deck here and see what I can do to um just to see what I can do with it. So as you see, we're having a little bit of talk here. I'm gonna speed this up just a little bit. I'm looking through my thing, my cheat sheet as I usually do, and I of course went first, which I don't know. I haven't seen many people win or lose via going first or second. I think more people. It's really difficult to go first and justify trying to see if you can like have a good first turn because you don't get to see what your opponent has. They have the one extra card advantage, which is fine. That is typical TCG, and yeah. So I'm gonna sit here and I'm going to play Earth Smog in defense position. And because of Earth Smog's ability, I'm able to expend one more Fire Spirit, and I am able to play another Ursa, one cost Ursa in defense position, this time Ursia, to give myself a 2 Celestial advantage going into the next turn. And that was the end of my turn. So my opponent here, I don't know why he decided he wanted to pull an Ursia out just to show. I don't know what he's like. He has all his cards. I also didn't notice when we were battling, he has a knife sitting on his board the entire time, which was so weird to see. And I see him doing stuff. He's like, he keeps hitting the knife, and I'm like, how are you not bleeding? How are you not getting cut from that thing? Which is kind of weird, but it is what it is. So he pulls out this Majestic just to show that that's on the field. I don't know why he did that. There is no reason to absolutely do that. But okay, he comes out and he's going to play Boombat, and then as we go from here, he plays Boombat. Then he sets one, pretty sure, yeah. Then he plays Zeus, puts the max number of spirits on, which I believe is 3 extra. So you put the 1 and then 3 more, so you get 4. And I'm like, immediately, I'm like, oh, here we go. We have a Voltempest player, and we're going to talk about Voltempest later. And a problem it kind of has with the thing, but we're not going to talk about that right now. But anyway, so he gets his Zeus on the field, and then expends, which pretty much he expends 3. He expends 1, which makes it so that the Celestial he picks this time, he said Osea, gets -3 attack and 3 defense, which basically, because it doesn't have either one of those, it's 0/0 basically. So if he was going to be able, if he had the ability to turn that thing back to attack at this turn, he would have been able to take off one. He would have been able to destroy it either way. So he does that, which I notice he doesn't actually put them in the slots on the map, which is kind of interesting. So he does attack and destroy my Overseer. And then, as you're going to see here, he does something you're not supposed to actually do. He takes out my Overseer, and then he activates Boombat's attack, a special ability, which is not what you're supposed to do. What you do with Boombat is you're to expend its attack, a spirit from it, allowing it to pretty much Boombat is a kamikaze pilot. You go out, it goes out there, it runs into something and explodes and destroys it and its opponent and it's the Celestial at the same time. You're supposed to do that during your main phase. They did it after battle phase, which is not what you're supposed to do. So again, we're still learning. We're all still learning of this. I actually asked somebody before I got into this recording here if you're supposed to do that. They said it's supposed to happen during the main phase only. He did it during battle phase. Does it make a difference in the grand scheme of this battle with what I had in my hand? Absolutely not. I'm just going to put that out there. But he does that, which was a mistake. I don't know why you thought you could do that, but there is that. So that is the end of his turn, if I'm correct. Yep. And I go into mine. I'm not really happy with my deck, with my hand, obviously. So just sitting here trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I play Sorlet with the intention to attack and take one away from him for Spirit, but unfortunately he has Poison Tipped Arrow down, unfortunately, which I wish I had a couple of those, but I don't. Which pretty much negates the attack as it drops the attack and defense of said Elestral, but if you play enough spirits that matches the Elestral on your field, then you can destroy said Elestral, and he does that, pretty much negating everything that I try to do. That's all I could do. I end my turn. He draws. He plays. He's gonna play Ambrosia, which gets you 3 spirits back. Again, I don't know why he's sitting here telling me which spirits he gets back. That's not something you have to do. You're just getting 3 spirits back. And then that's basically all he could do. Sometimes it happens though. Sometimes you have the right cards, sometimes you don't. And that is my turn. So again, my hand is pretty bad. I think most of my ruins are at the bottom of my deck, which absolutely sucks. I definitely need to get a shuffle, something that lets me shuffle on here a lot better. I play Earth Scout, allows me to take 1 spirit from him, and that's all I could do. Unfortunately, that's it. It's not been an easy run right here for this deck. It's the first time I ever got to do it, and I still know that it still needs tweaks, and I'm looking at things to tweak for it, but yeah. So he draws on his next turn, and this was a very lengthy turn for him, for sure. For sure, this was definitely probably the lengthiest turn. Well, it's a lengthy turn. So he's going to enchant Spark It, which using Spark It's ability, you nexus up to 2 from something, and you get to look at my hand to destroy a card. So he does just that. I had Warmite, Majorsa, and Carry On in my hand. He decides to get rid of Warmite, which I don't know why. I would just go to Carry On, but that's neither here nor there. And then he destroys my Earth Scout with, yeah. Then because I had Earth Scout in attack position, because I did want to try and get at least some damage, or at least a damage off on him, he's going to be able to attack me freely and take me out for makes me cost 1 extra. But due to Earth Scout's ability, I can summon, I can find a 1 fire cost Elestral, a 1 cost Elestral from my deck to my hand, or to my field, and summon it. I get a second Earth Scout and put it in the defense position, and that is the end of his turn. This is not the lengthy one. There's a very lengthy one that's coming up that, like, yeah, a lot happens. So that is basically what happens there. He ends his turn. Now I have the Stellar, of course, Earth Scout from the Founders Pack, and have that in defense position. I draw. I only have really 3 options. Not much really here. Not much really at all. So I'm looking. I'm trying to figure out what his thing's gonna be. So I draw and play Carry On in defense position. I'm really on a defensive game right now because everything that I want to be able to make this work doesn't work. I play Volcanic Forge as well, just to try and keep Earth Scout's ability from being destroyed pretty much this turn, and end my turn, because I didn't have the ability attack to be able to take him out. All right, my opponent draws, he activates Spark its effect again, which will be a Nexus, which of course destroys the only card that was left in my hand at the time, which of course was Majorsa. That was the only card I had left after my turn, unfortunately. So I'm basically cardless at this time. And then for some reason he tries to skip over how you do Grafuse. He thought that you were going to be able to just special summon it that way. That's not how it works. You have to ascend to Grafuse. So we get this all figured out. So he does ascend to Grafuse. Then he is able to Nexus from Zeus to Grafuse and able to bring out pretty much, I think, the most broken card in the entire game, Voltempest. I know there are people arguing that it's not a broken card. It is absolutely a broken card with the text that it is written on here. We'll talk about that in a bit. So then he's able to have up to 4 on there, which 3, like, because of nexusing and everything. Which, yeah. Then he's able to play Alter the Stars, which we'll get that here in a second, which allows him to change Carry On into attack position because of the Zeus Voltempest ability thing right now. Even if he destroys Carry On's effect does not take place, so I can't like control Voltempest, and there is that. So he also uses Voltempest's ability to make me expend 3 more spirits, and that is the end of his turn. So I lose 6 spirits because he attacked a Carry On. He has 4 on there. He's able to do all that and everything. I draw. Not much I can do. End my turn. So again, he has that knife sitting right there and hitting himself with it. It's just really weird looking back at this. So then he's able to draw his turn. This is pretty much it right here. So he's sitting here. He draws. He activates Circle of the Sky, which, as you know, you can nexus up to 2, allowing you to draw a card. I'm pretty much sure is what it is. Yeah, that's right. Which, yeah. Then he plays Ambrosia, gets 3 more spirits back, brings out Elichik, and then uses Voltempest's ability again to cost me 3 more spirits. And then Elichik attacks with 1 more after he takes out. He uses Carry On. He uses Voltempest because with the Volcanic Forge still being up, Elichik would not be able to take down my defense, my Elestral defense. Does all that, leaves me down with 1. I draw, I fold, and that's the end of the game. And that was the end of that game. Now, let me come here. Okay, so I'm coming live here for a second. This is the most broken card in the game. I don't want to hear nothing about it. Voltempest is broken for the simple fact is, as long as Zeus is on the field, you cannot target this of any effect. So you can't Earthquake it, you can't Gorgon Gaze it, you can't do anything to it. They say Shield of Achilles you can use because that doesn't target, but I don't buy that either. But if it's true, then fine. That's one of only few things. If you don't have Thunderstorm in your deck, or you don't have Tornado, which if you have Tornado, then you're basically screwed the very next turn, you can't do anything to this card until Zeus is off the field. And yet, in the Discord a couple of days ago, they kept saying that no, it's not. This card needs to be rewritten. This card does not need the Zeus part to it because basically, I've gone through and I faced at least a few people in like webcam games who are playing this deck, and it's honestly ruining the game because everyone's going to have to go, well, if I'm not playing Voltempest, I have no shot at winning majority of the time. This needs to be rewritten. There needs to be no effect from Zeus whatsoever. And making you expend 3 is fine, that's all right, but having the ability to be like, well, as long as Zeus is on the field, it can't be targeted by card effects is broken and BS. And it's ruining the game, and I don't want to play anybody who plays a Zeus Voltempest deck because Now, this deck I didn't expect to win. I just wanted to see what I could do with it because it wasn't a deck that was built to win. It was just a built to see what I could do with it, and I'm like tweaking it as we go. I'm gonna have to look, and I'm getting a couple other cards that are win that could make it a Majersa slash this another card deck. But until this card is rewritten and reissued without the Zeus portion to it, it's going to ruin the game. And when you go to start doing actual tournaments and you start seeing that majority of the people who are making it into the final parts of the tournament are mostly Zeus Voltempest, what are you going to do? It needs to be rewritten. There is literally no reason. I don't care if you have Zeus on the cover here. Why this is set to have, as long as Zeus is on the field, it cannot be targeted by card effects. It doesn't say Celestial card effects. It says card effects. So no Earthquake, no Gorgon's Gaze, no, I would even say Shield of Achilles because that's targeting. No effect can attack this. You have to get rid of Zeus. And if you don't have a card that gets rid of Zeus, like a P-Gust or if you're somebody who does like any of those card decks that doesn't have one of those cards that can get rid of Zeus, you can't take this off the field unless you somehow are able to like get. The only way I can see you doing this is if you happen to be running a Pantera deck and you don't have your Pantera, um, you don't have P-Gust on the field, or you don't have Tornado in your hand. Because if you get Hydrake and it gets destroyed, you get Twindra. Twindra gets destroyed, you get Pantera. That's the only thing that I can think beats this. But anybody who's not doing that, or doesn't have those cards that you need, this card is a menace, and this card needs to be rewritten. There is literally no reason that this card needs to have its secondary effect on it. But that is my thoughts on that, and I hope you enjoyed the battle. I hope to be like, I'm tweaking, I'm getting some more cards coming in as well. Hopefully we can tweak and make ourselves some decks that can get me some wins and everything. But until then, my name is Franz, and I'll see you guys later.